I'll record. Yes. Perfect. So it is day 3. It is day 3 of networking training and 13/9/2020, and it's Sunday. And I hope Sundays are very tough, but it is good that we have around 750 participants now. I'm glad that everyone took effort to get up early in the morning and to join the session. I appreciate your participation, and thanks everyone for that. Fine, we'll start with today's session. Minimize your chat box. Is my chat box visible? I don't think so. Every Sunday in Corona period. Okay, great. So we have discussed few things about IP address and IP range, subnetting, and what is subnet mask, and what is network ID, what is broadcast ID. And I told you how we are going to implement this in real time, and you have used Packet Tracer to check how it is working. Fine. And most probably in real time, yes, you will have few configuration changes, but the methods what you have followed will be the same, and the concepts and the technical aspects what is involved, yes, it will be the same. Fine. And we'll see something about private IP address and public IP address. Fine. This is one key concept which you need to understand for this. Okay. Most of the time what happens is, when you're connected with internet, and this is the attacker here who is out of your LAN. He is somewhere, say imagine he is in US, and your network architecture will be like this. You will have a router, or you'll have a Wi-Fi modem which is in your home, and in case if you have a larger network, you will have chat box is not visible. I think chat is visible for everyone. Do you have options for this? Yes, fine. And you have a switch below this. And yes, today you will be seeing about routers here. And tomorrow we'll be seeing about switches, how to configure, how to connect. For your understanding, we are in this part. We are in this part of seeing what is there inside your LAN. So we started with computers, and we started with the IP address here. Fine. And we are discussing about IP address, subnetting, and what is happening here. Later, we'll move up the ladder to switch configuration. You will move up the ladder to router configuration, and then we'll proceed. We'll see how to place or how to configure security devices, what is their role, step by step. So I hope everyone is able to follow the flow here. Fine. And as an attacker here, fine, you need to understand you will be having an IP address here 192.168.1.2. This is 1.3 and this is 1.4. And I told you this routers, your default gateway IP address will be 192.168.1.1. Yes. So you have an architecture like this, which is inside the LAN. This is your LAN here. This is your local area network, and your router will also have another IP address, which is assigned by your ISP. So that IP address will be assigned here. This will be like 210.1.2.3, something like this, right? And this part here is out of LAN, outside your LAN, that you call it as WAN. For a better understanding, when you apply for a broadband connection in your home, what will happen? They'll bring a long wire, thin wire. They'll roll it up outside your window, and they'll bring a small wire here inside your window, and you'll have probably two boxes, a size of a matchbox. Fine. You have two boxes. One is a converter, another one is a splitter. From this, you will have one wire which goes to your modem. Fine. I'm speaking about your home architecture. In your home, this wire which comes outside and then here, and then it comes to your modem here. This can be a Wi-Fi modem or a normal modem. And in case if you have a landline connection, another wire which goes to the landline, right? And this is inside your LAN, what is happening inside your LAN. And from this modem, yes, we are speaking about the computers, what is being connected here. Yes. And the IP, what is used inside a LAN, right? We have IP address like this. I'm speaking about the IP address, what is being assigned here. This can be your public IP address, which is assigned by your ISP. Your ISP, when they are configuring, they come up with the public IP address and they give it to your router or modem. And internally, when you use this, you call this as private IP address. So we have two types of IP address. One is private IP. The other one is called public IP address, right? So attacker, when he is here, when he is somewhere outside and he wants to target a particular system here, right? System here, he doesn't directly get access to this particular IP address here, fine. Mostly he will get this IP address. He will target your public IP address. That will be his initial step. So first, let's understand what is the difference between a public IP and a private IP address, fine? So as I told here, public IP address, public IP, it's used outside your LAN. It's used outside your LAN, and it is okay. It is used outside your LAN, and it is assigned by your ISP. It's assigned by your ISP, Internet Service Provider, and you can view your public IP address. That's fine. You can view your public IP, but you cannot change or edit your public IP address, right? And when it comes to your private IP address, it's used inside your LAN. It's used inside your LAN, and it's assigned by a user or network admin. And yes, you can view, you can edit, you can change, you can do whatever you want with your IP address. That's private IP address. Now, why do we have a public IP address and why do we have a private IP address? What is happening in the background? Let's see that in detail. So having this, your router, you have a switch, and you have computers here. 192.168.1.2, and this is 192.168.1.3, and this being 192.168.1.1, and this particular IP address, which is your public IP address, can be 210.10.2.3, something like this, right? So now, as I told you, the address which is used inside your LAN is over here. Okay, this being your private IP and this being your public IP address, right? And what you have to understand when you're trying to access any website from this computer, say imagine we are accessing Facebook, right? We are accessing facebook.com here. So you also need to understand computer communication happens in packets. All computer communication happens in packets. This is the base, and this is very mandatory for you guys to understand. If this computer is sending any message to this computer, this says hi, and that goes in 2-3 packets. And this computer sends some data to this computer, that comes in a lot of different packets. And for your understanding, all these packets are like courier packets. I courier to someone, my packet will be like this. My courier packet will be like this with a from and a to address. From address will be my address, to address will be the destination address. So computer communication happens in packets. Two computers or computer and a server or any devices, they want to communicate with each other, it will all be sent as a packet. Even when you go for a video call or a voice call from Skype from this computer to this computer, right? When you go for a voice call, that will also go as a packet, a collection of packets, Fine. So you have so many packets which is being transmitted up and down. So having said this, now when you want to send a packet or when you want to access Facebook, right? When you want to access Facebook, this packet here goes here and it goes here, and it is very obvious the from address and to address will be in all the packets. The from address will be your computer's IP address, that is 1.2. But what happens when this packet goes out of your LAN? When this packet goes out of your LAN, your private IP address will be changed to public IP address. So when it goes here, your packet probably takes this IP address, the public IP address, which is assigned to you. It will take this IP address. So this private IP will get converted to public IP. And when you get the return reply back, probably this public IP address will again convert back to the private IP address. This process of converting private IP address to public IP address is called NAT. What do you mean by NAT? NAT is called network address translation. Network address translation. Fine. The process of converting private IP to public IP address and back public IP address back to private IP address, that process is called NAT. So now, why this happens? Because private IP address, it can be used only inside a LAN, and when it goes out of LAN, it becomes invalid. Likewise, the public IP address here can be used only out of LAN, and when it comes inside, it doesn't become valid. So to answer a basic question, is IP address unique? Is IP unique? Is IP address unique? Anyone? Do you think IP address is unique? This probably you'll get in most of the networking interview point of view. What I say is, like, I assign an IP address like this. Fine. In case if my computer's IP address is this 192.168.1.3, my question is, can any other computer in this world can have the same IP address 192.168.1.3? If you say yes, I am here in Coimbatore and this computer is in Bangalore, and I have a IP address here, and in case if another computer in Bangalore has the same IP address, if you say yes, then IP address is not unique. Means I have my IP address repeated everywhere. If you say no, it cannot be there. We cannot assign IP address. Once if you have taken this IP address for this particular computer, it cannot get repeated anywhere. If you say no, IP address is unique, then what happens? We have only 4.2 billion IP address. IP address would be, IPv4 would be gone long years back. Fine. So to understand whether IP address is unique or not, let us understand this concept of private IP address and public IP address. Fine. I'll give you a non-technical example. With this, you can understand it much better. Okay. I cannot draw a map, but imagine this is India. Fine. This is India. And what is the currency used here? We use rupee. Yes. We use INR. INR here. INR is used only inside India. INR is valid only inside India. When you want to go to US, fine. When you want to go to US, this INR gets converted to USD. And USD is only valid here in US. When you come back to India, you should probably change this to INR. Now, considering India as your LAN, fine. India as your LAN and US as WAN, and INR as your private IP address. So this private IP address, your rupee, is valid only inside this LAN, and when it goes outside, it converts automatically to a public IP address like USD. This being your public address. You don't have to do anything. Computers, this happens in the background, and this conversion happens when there is entry or exit. When the transition happens, it normally gets converted, and that you call it as NAT, network address translation. Fine. And when you ask is IP address unique or not? I'll tell you this. We have a range of IP address. Yes, we have a range of IP address. Say we have class A, we have class B and class C. And class A 0 to 127 and 128 to 191 and 192 to 223. Yes, right? And I told you I'm going to assign some IP address here. I'm going to assign IP address here. And I told you this is 192.168.1.2 and this is 192.168.1.3 and this is 192.168.1.1 and this is 210.1.0.100 something, right? Now you might ask me, of all these ranges, of all these numbers we have, which is considered as a private IP address and which is considered as a public IP address? I have say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls, fine. I have 5 balls and we have both boys and girls. Now I say ball number 2 and ball number 3 is for girls. Ball number 2 and ball number 3 is for girl. When a guy comes, this is a boy here. When he comes, it is very obvious you are not going to give ball number 2 and 3 because it is assigned to girls. Yes. So when he comes, probably he can get 1 or he can get 4 or he can get 5. When a girl walks in, probably you might give 2 or 3. So out of these 5 balls, what we have here, 2 and 3 we have assigned to girls and remaining is for boys. Likewise, your IP range is from 0 to 255. That is perfect. Fine. We have the range from 0 to 255. But in this we have specific range of IP address called the private IP address assigned to each class. Fine. We have private IP address assigned to each class and the range, say in case if it is class A, the range will start from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. Fine. If it is class B, probably you will have 172.16.0.0 to 172.31. Oh my God, 255.255. Right? The range goes like this. And for class C, you will have from 192.168.0.0 and it goes till 192.168.255.255. And what happens? We are assigning this specific range of IP address called the private range. Apart from this, all the address are public IP address. Fine. For a better understanding, let me type it here. So for class A range is from 0 to 127. That is perfect. But what is the range here? 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. And for class B, it is 128 to 191, and the range is from 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255. Class C, 192 to 223, and the range is from 192.168.0.0, and it goes till 192.168.255.255. Now you might ask me, where do we apply all these ranges? Where do we use all these ranges? The very simple example, I'll take my computer here, I'll go to my command prompt and I'll check what is my IP address. I'll give IP config, enter, see what is my IP address. It is 192.168.0.3. In case if you check your IP address, most probably for all home users, you will have IP address only in this range. Which range? 192.168. Why? Because that is a private IP address which you can assign inside your LAN. Inside your LAN, probably you can assign this. In case if it is a class A IP address which is being assigned, a public IP address, then you can assign 10.0.0. in that series. It differs from class to class. To make it very simple, I'll close this. This is your connection here. So a public IP address is being assigned, a public IP address of 100.1.2.1. Fine. Now, which class of IP address is this? This is class A. Yes, this is class A. And in case if it is class A, this is by default, you can change this, but for your understanding, please grab this now. This is class A public IP address. Yes. And in case if a class A public IP address is assigned to you, what is the range, or what is the private IP range which you can use? It starts from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. So for my computers, I'll assign IP address like this: 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, 10.0.0.4, and this will be 10.0.0.1. As simple as that. Fine. Now, this is your home, and we saw this before. For small companies and home users, which class of IP address will be assigned? Class C. Yes, class C IP address will be assigned. So we'll take 200.3.1.2. This is the public IP address which is assigned to your home. And for your computers, here, what IP address should you assign? For a class C IP address, a range of this, what is the private IP range? It starts from 192.168.0.0. So I can give it like this: 192.168.0.2, 192.168.0.3, 192.168.0.4, 192.168.0.1. It can be like this. Fine. Or you can also give it like this, because we have an entire range. I can give 1.2, this is 1.3, this is 1.4, or I can give it as 2.2, 2.3, or 2.4. Fine. So this is by default. And in case you want to change this, yes, you can change this. Sometimes you will have a different alternative, but for your basic understanding of private and public IP address, understand this: we have a private range of IP address to be assigned. And that is the reason when you open your command prompt of your home computer and type ipconfig, you will have a range of, you will have an IP address assigned like this: 192.168. You got this? Fine. And in case if it is a class A, probably you'll have it in 10 dot series. So now coming to the question of whether IP address is unique or not. Right? If someone in an interview asks you if IP address is unique, tell them, you can ask them back which IP address you're speaking about. So this is the private IP range here, private IP range for each class. Fine. For the first time, it will be hard to remember the number, but it comes in practice. And is IP address unique? You should ask them which IP address you are asking about. Are you asking about public IP, or you're asking about private IP? Right? So public IP address, yes, it's unique everywhere. It's unique everywhere. IP address which is assigned to one device cannot be used for another device unless and until, please understand this, unless and until your ISP has done subnetting and has divided to multiple hosts. Apart from that, generally speaking, if you ask me, I have a device here and I have a public IP address assigned here, 2.3, and can this IP address be repeated anywhere? The answer is no. Right? Same for a server. You have Facebook server. Facebook server has an IP address of 71.2.3.4. Now, what do you, give me 1 minute. When you have an IP address like this, the question is, can a Gmail server also have the same public IP address? The answer is no, it cannot have. Fine. So when it comes to public IP address, yes, it is unique. It's unique everywhere. Now let's speak about private IP address. Private IP address, if you speak about private IP address, let me tell 192.168.1.2. This is 192.168.1.3. And for this computer, this is in my LAN. Fine. This is inside my LAN. You can try this in your LAN. Give this assign 1.2 to one computer and try assigning the same IP address 168.1.2 to another computer. Fine. You will not be able to assign. What error you will get? You will get this error called IP conflict error. You will get IP conflict error. You can never assign the same IP address to another device inside a LAN. If you try to assign this, you will get this error. So when you ask whether IP address is unique, I'll say private IP address is unique. I'll say, yes, it is unique. It's unique inside a LAN. Inside a LAN, I cannot assign one IP address which I have assigned to this computer. I cannot assign this IP address to, I cannot assign this to another computer. Fine, we'll have this error. So inside a LAN, yes, private IP address is unique. Fine, but not between LANs. As I told you, I'm here in Coimbatore. Imagine there is one more LAN here, which is in, this is in Bangalore. This is in Bangalore. And if you ask me, can we assign 192, 168, 1.2 here? The answer is yes. Why? Because this IP, what is being assigned here, is never going to go out of LAN. When it goes out of LAN, it is going to get converted as a public IP address. So there is no issue in using inside this LAN. And here, when it goes outside, probably this will get converted to another public IP address. So private IP address, it is unique inside a LAN. Inside a LAN, it is unique, but not unique between LANs. Between two different LANs, private IP address is not unique. Inside LAN, but not unique between LANs, right? I hope you understood this. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, do satellite devices have IP address? Every device, as I told you, any device which is connected with the internet, probably that should have IP address. That is identification. That's for identification purpose, only for which, only through which we can access these devices, right? And to summarize, is IP address unique or not? If you speak of public IP address, I can say public IP address is unique everywhere. And private IP address, yes, inside a LAN, it is unique. If you assign one IP address to one computer here, you cannot assign the same IP address to another computer. So inside a LAN, it is unique, but outside LAN or between LANs, when I compare a LAN from Coimbatore here and a LAN from Bangalore here, or this is my office here, and next office has a different LAN. When I compare two different IP address, the private IP address, it will not be unique, fine? It is not unique between LANs. Inside LAN, it is unique. I'll give you another one non-technical example for you guys to understand. This is in India. I have a mobile number called, okay, my 77665577, fine. So this is a mobile number. This is in India and this is from Airtel. My question is, can anyone else get the same number with Vodafone, with, okay, we got VI now, Vodafone and Idea, fine? And Vodafone or take any other service provider. Can anyone get the same number with any other service provider inside India? No, that is with the private IP address. When you speak of private IP address, if you assign it to one device inside your LAN, India is our LAN. When you assign one private IP address to a particular device inside your LAN, you cannot assign it to other devices, right? But consider US. Can anyone have the same number from US? Yes, they can, fine. Again speaking, this is their private IP address and this is a different LAN here, fine. So the total concept, private IP address inside a LAN, it is unique, but it is not unique between LANs, right? And I request everyone to people who are sharing their video because we are uploading this in YouTube, and this video, when it is turned on, probably that is getting shared. So you might regret that. Fine. So this is the difference between private IP address and public IP address. And attackers, when you target, now you should be knowing when you want to trace back someone, an attack has happened, this particular person here has done something and he is connected with the internet, and you are a forensics investigator here, you are trying to find out who this person is. It is very obvious you cannot get his private IP address initially, so you should be targeting the public IP address of your target, of the accused, and from public IP address then you have to migrate or try to find out what is the private IP address what he has used, right? So public IP address and private IP address plays a lot of different functionalities and key features which you will be using repeatedly again and again, right? Having said this, I'll give a small introduction about routers and then we'll move on. And I'm doing this repeatedly. See here, I'm doing this repeatedly, routers, switch and computers. Why? Because when you see something repeatedly, it will get registered in all your memories. So this architecture here, computers, yes, switch and router. So I keep repeating these words for you guys to understand. Now we have seen IP address, private IP, public IP, subnet mask, subnetting, perfect. And now we'll move on to routers, fine. Routers, as I told you, it is a border device. It's a gateway device, border, or it's called a gateway device. And router is a device which connects different LANs, right? When you go for this router, this is a device which is going to connect you with internet. Means it is the device which is going to connect you with a lot of other devices. Yes, I understand in your home you have Wi-Fi modem, but we are speaking about routers here. And to understand router and to configure a router here, what we are going to do, we are going to see what ports do we have, router ports. We'll learn about router rules. We have few rules of router which is very simple. We'll see about that. And then we'll see about basic commands which is used in router. We are speaking about Cisco routers here. You do have a lot of other routers, but Cisco is one dominant brand here, and the basic commands. And we'll go for a very simple configuration of a LAN with a router. Last time, what you did, you took a switch and you connected two computers. You assigned, this was your first assignment. Yes. You assigned IP address here and then you try to ping from this computer to this computer. Then what happened? The second assignment, what we have learned with switch, you try to categorize into different departments. So this is sales and this is HR. So when a company has different departments and they don't want one department to ping with other department, what we did, we went for subnetting, and you have done this. Now we are going one step ahead. So here we have a router connected with the device, and we'll go for this particular configuration here. Okay, let me delete this. We'll go for this configuration where you connect a router. You have two computers here, and I told you the default gateway IP address 1.1. We'll see how to assign this IP address to a router, right? And after assigning this, how to check the connection. We tried pinging from this computer to this computer. It was working. Now we'll try to ping from this computer to router gateway and see if you're getting the reply, right? So my default gateway is 0.1. So what I'll do, I'll try to ping 192.168.0.1, enter. I'm getting a reply from my router. Means the connection is perfect, internet is working. So we'll go for this configuration, and please pay close attention to this, because we have a lot of technical things for you guys to understand, and that is the only reason we are recording the videos and sharing it to you, because for the first time, yes, you might understand, you might feel like you're understanding. For the second time, you might be interested. Third time, yes, you watch it again, only then you'll get a very better understanding of what is being taught in the session. That is the only reason we are recording all these videos and uploading in YouTube and sharing it in drives. Fine. So router configuration now, Soumita will start with that, and you can please be online and continue with the session. Fine. And yes, it is 919 participants now. Perfect. Thank you. Please be online. Soumita will take over now and she will discuss about routers.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Is my voice audible? Yes, great. Okay, so I'll again give you a 2-minute break. I'm going to post the attendance link in the Zoom chat box. You can go ahead, fill in your attendance, and come back. Yes? So here's the attendance link. Okay, I hope we can start now. Yes, so my voice is audible? Yes, great. Okay, so we actually got too many doubts from subnetting, which we saw yesterday, and we were happy that you all completed your assignment and you posted it in Skype groups. The subnetting concept, which I taught you yesterday, you can do it only when the number of hosts is same. Yes, so if you have 4 departments and on all the 4 departments should have same number of hosts. In case if you have different number of hosts, the process of subnetting will change a bit. Not all the steps, but one or two steps will change. Okay. Depending on the host, instead of finding n, you have to find h. That is the difference. Yeah, you can try that if you want. I can even now see many people asking doubt on the same. I'll just give you a simple gist of that. I'm not going to take your time more on it because we have to see about routers today. In subnetting, as we saw, we had two networks yesterday. One is sales and another one is HR. So sales had 120 computer and HR had 120 computer. When this is the case, you can go with the steps which I taught you yesterday. Okay. But in case, say you have another department coming in now, instead of that, let's take banks. Say we have ICICI Bank. I'm sorry. We have ICICI Bank, which needs 120 computers. We have SBI Bank, which needs 60 computers, and we have HSBC Bank, which have 30 computers. And now you wanted to do subnetting for this. Yes, and now you wanted to do subnetting for this. Now, in this case, you have to perform subnetting individually to each and every requirement. Okay. Now you have to take from the bigger number. Now, in from these three requirement, you have to see which particular department or which particular company needs more number of computers. So in our case, ICICI has the highest number of computer requirement. Now what you have to do is you have to take ICICI. And for ICICI, okay, so for ICICI, you have to perform subnetting. All the 5 steps which I told you. But one thing you have to change is step 2. Remaining all the other steps are same. All the other steps are same. But step 2 alone, instead of finding n, you have to find h. You will find n when number of hosts are same. When number of hosts are different, you have to find h, not n. This is n actually. Okay. So to find n, all you have to do is 2 power h minus 2 greater than or equal to required number of computers. So for ICICI, it's 120. So we'll take 120. And you have to find out h here. Okay. So you have to find out h value here. And in custom subnet mask, you have to leave the host bit that you find here and convert the remaining bit into network bit. Once you're done for ICICI, you have to see which other company has the highest requirement. So you have SBI 60. So now what you have to do is you have to perform subnetting for SBI. Okay. And same way in step 2, you will find H. You will find H. And in step 3, you will find the custom subnet mask. But for this custom subnet mask, you will not take the default subnet mask. Listen carefully. You will not take the default subnet mask, but you will take the custom subnet mask which you found out for ICICI. Okay, now I'll give you an example. Now say for ICICI, 2 power h minus 2 greater than or equal to 120. When you satisfy this condition, you will get the h value as 7. Okay, so when you take your default subnet mask 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So when the host value is 7, you will leave 7 host bits and you will convert the remaining host bit into network bit, and then you will get a custom subnet mask. Yes, and when you calculate, you will get 2 networks for this particular requirement and you will get 126 hosts each. Okay, so one network and one host you will use it for SBI. That is, with 126 host you will take for SBI, and you will be left with another 126 which is actually wasted. Okay, so what we will do is we are going to take this custom subnet mask and use it here. So here, when you try to get a new custom subnet mask, you will use the custom subnet mask from the previous step. So here you will take 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You will take this as the default value, and from here you will start converting. So now say for example, if you find the h value as 6 here, you will leave the 6 host bit and you will convert the remaining 1 bit into network bit. Okay, so this way you have to perform subnetting when you have different number of hosts. But this cannot be implemented practically. Yes, if you wanted to implement this practically, then you have to go with routing. So that is the concept which we are going to see next. Okay, I hope your doubt is cleared now. Yes, and if you rewatch this video again, you will be really very clear. Yes, and you can do the same steps. I mean, for all your requirements which you came up in Skype group, and even now you can perform this step, and you can, go ahead with submitting. But you can only calculate. When you calculate, you will get the answer. Your requirement will be met. But practically, to implement, you cannot implement it in Packet Tracer, because every time the custom subnet mask changes. So for that, we go with subnetting. I mean, we go with router and routing. Yes, so when the number of requirement keeps increasing, or when it gets complex, we have to place a device called router, and we have to perform the steps. Yes, so we'll go with routers today. So we'll start with routers, and as you all know, router is actually a device. Yes, it is a device, and it is mostly used to find the best path. To find the best path. Now, what do you call a best path? Why do we mention it as the best path? Yeah. So now, say for example, you have a computer, okay, and there is another computer. So let's take this as source and this as the destination. Okay. So we have source and we have the destination. Now, from source, you are trying to send a packet to the destination. Yeah. So you have a packet, and that packet has to be sent to the destination. So when that is the case, what routers will do, what router will do is it will find the best path. Now, to reach destination, there can be many paths. Yes, to reach destination, there can be many paths. Now, what this router will do is it will see which path has the minimum traffic, which path has the minimum traffic, the less traffic. So it will see which, now say suppose this is the shortest path. Now let's assume the distance of this path is 10, this is 20, this is 30, and this is 40. Okay, so obviously this is actually the shortest path. This is the shortest path. But in case if there is more traffic in the shortest path, the time taken to reach the destination will be more. Yes, and sometimes this is actually the greatest path. The number 40 is actually the greatest path, and the traffic is very less, which means the time taken to reach the destination will be very less. So this way, router will understand, okay, this path is actually the best path because there is very less traffic. Okay, so this is what routers do. Yes, this is what your routers do. So having said that, you have now you got a basic idea about what router is. So router is a device which the actual basic process of a router is this. Now when talking about router, you have to concentrate on few things. When you learn router, you should be very comfortable with these four primary concepts, which we are going to see today. Okay, so which is router ports and router rules, router modes, and router basic configuration. Okay, so we have this four basic concepts which we will see today, and you have like 3 to dos which you will have to complete it for today. Okay, so let's see about router ports first. Okay, router ports. Now based on functionality, we have two types of ports in a router. Okay, based on functionality, we have two types in a router. One type is called interface, and another type is called line. So you have an interface port and you have a line port. So there are two types of ports, and one is interface port and another one is your line port. Okay, so we'll see about interface first. So talking about interface port is used to connect a router with another device. So that device can be a switch, it can be a switch, it can be a router, it can be a computer. So in case if you are planning to connect a router to another device, then you will go with interface port. Okay, and in interface port there are many types of interfaces. In interface port there are many types. So the types We have Ethernet interface, which is old and slow, and you have fast interface, Ethernet interface, which is new and fast. And third, you have gigabit Ethernet interface, which is again new and advanced. And fourth, you have serial interface, and serial interface is used to connect a router with another router. So you have four types of interfaces: Ethernet interface, fast Ethernet interface, gigabit Ethernet interface, and serial interface. Now I'll tell you what is the difference between these interfaces and where you will use it. Okay. Basically, interface port is used to connect a router with another device. Now take it a router. So in examples, you see this diagram. Yes, you have a router, it is connected to a switch, and the switch is connected to a computer, which means you are connecting this router with another device. Yes, so for that, we go with interface port. In case if you plan of connecting a router with another router, then you go with interface port. And in this case, when you try connecting a router with switch, you go with an interface called fast Ethernet interface. Ethernet interface is actually old. You won't be using it in our session. You will go with fast Ethernet. Okay. So when you try connecting a router with a switch, you will go with fast Ethernet interface. When you try connecting a router with a switch, you will go with fast Ethernet interface. And when you try connecting a router with another router, yes, obviously to establish connection, you are going to connect a router with another router. When that is the case, you will go with serial interface. Yes. So when you try connecting a router with a switch, you will go with fast Ethernet. And when you try connecting a router with another router, you will go with serial interface. Okay. Uh, so this is with interfaces. So when you are doing assignment, you have to keep this in mind with interfaces, fast Ethernet and serial interface. Gigabit, again, it is new and advanced. If you want, you can go with gigabit also to try connecting a router with another device. But basically, when you connect a router with another router, you have to go with serial interface. By default, it is going to connect in serial interface only. Okay. So having said that, this is with interfaces. Let's go with line port. Now, interface port, as I told you, it is used to connect a router with another device. Now, line port, it is used to configure a router. Now, in case if you wanted to configure your router, you have a router with you and you wanted to configure that router, you will go with line port. Okay. So in line port, you have two types of line port. One is console port and another one is auxiliary port. Okay. So console port is actually used for direct configuration, and auxiliary port is used for remote configuration. Now, what is this direct and remote configuration? Say you have a router at your place. You are here and you have a router near you. Maybe the router is in front of you, which means you can connect the router to the console port. I mean, you can connect the router and your device in console port, and you can start configuring. So this is direct configuration. Now you are somewhere, maybe you are in Chennai, you are in Coimbatore, and your router is in Chennai. Okay, your router is in Chennai. So if that is the case, via internet, if you're going to configure the router, this is remote configuration. And for this, you will go with auxiliary port. I mean, for this in router, you will be connecting it in auxiliary port. Okay, so this is for configuration. This is for the router configuration. Yes, I'll show you the console cable. Console cable for router. Yes, so a console cable looks something like this. Yes, so a console cable looks something like this. I'm sorry. Okay, so it looks something like this. Yes, so this is actually used for connecting your router for configuration. Yes, for configuration. If you wanted to configure your router, and this is how you use. So if it is direct configuration, you go with console port, and if it is a remote configuration, you go with auxiliary port. As of now, you won't be doing all this because you don't have routers in your hand. So you won't be configuring routers directly, but we will do this with packet tracer. Yeah, we'll do this with packet tracer, and we'll see how this can how we can implement this. So this is with router ports. So router ports, as said, we have two port, one is interface and another one is line port. Interface port is used to connect a router with another device, and line port it is used to configure a router. Yes, so this is with router ports. Now after router ports, 1 minute, I'll admit in. Okay, there are few people waiting in the waiting room, so I'll admit in. Okay, yes, I'll also show you router. Say I'll show you Cisco router ports. Cisco router ports. So see here in this image, see, these are the ports which will be present in a Cisco router. Okay, these are the ports will be present, which will be present. So it looks something like this. Okay, so this is the port which we were talking about all this time. Okay, great. So having said that, we'll go with the next topic, router rules. Okay, now this is again another major thing which you should remember, router rules. Now there are two rules for a router. Okay, so I'll type the rules first and then I'll explain you what those two rules are. Okay, so rule number one is all interfaces of a router should be in different network or should have different network ID. Network ID. And rule 2, serial interface, a serial interface connecting two routers should be in same network or should have same network ID. Okay, so these are the two rules of routers. Okay, so the first rule is all interface of a router should be in different network or should have different network ID. So let's see what's that. Now say for example there is a router. Okay, and from this router you can establish as many connections. Okay, now in this router this is an interface, this is an interface, this you call it an interface, and this you call it an interface. Yes, all these are interfaces. Now rule number one is all interface of a router should be in different network. It should be in different network. Now say for example let's connect this to a computer. Now if this computer's IP is 1.10, then this default gateway IP is obviously going to be 1.1. We know that. Yes, so the default gateway will be 1.1 for this. Now what they are saying is when you have so many interfaces in a router, all the interface should be in different network, which means if this is 1.1, this should be in different network. So I'll keep this as 2.1. If this is 2.1, this should be in different network. So I'll keep this as 3.1. And if this is 3.1, I'll keep this as 4.1. So all the interfaces should be in different network. Now try converting them into network ID. This network ID will be 1.0, this will be 2.0, this will be 3.0, and this will be 4.0. So all these are in different network. Okay, so this is the first rule. All interface of a router should be in different network. So it is 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. Yes, and we'll go with rule number 2. Now, rule number 2 is a serial interface connecting two routers should be in same network or should have same network ID. Now, we'll do something. For all these interfaces, we'll try connecting a router. This and this. Okay, so now we have connected routers. Now take another color. Okay, so now here this is also an interface, this is an interface, and this is an interface. Now the second rule, a serial interface connecting two routers should be in same network, which means if this is 2.0, then the interface connecting this router should also be in 2.0 series only. Okay, so if this is 2.1, I'll take this as 2.2. If this is 3.1, I'll take this as 3.2. If this is 4.1, I will take this as 4.2. For 3.2, the network ID is 3.0. 4.2, the network ID is again 4.0. And for 2.2, the network ID is again 2.0. Okay, so now all these are in same network. So a serial interface connecting two routers should be in same network, or it should have same network ID. Yes, so these are the two major rules of a router. Now let's take a proper example and let's try filling in the IP. So I'll take 3 routers for this example. Okay, this is a router here, and this is another router with a computer, and we'll take another router with another computer. So let's say this is router A, this is router B, and this is router C. And let's connect it with the serial interface. Okay, so now all these 3 routers are connected. Yes, and this is an interface, this is an interface, this is an interface, this is an interface, this is again an interface, and this is an interface. Okay, so let's try assigning the first IP 192.168.1.0, wait, 1.10. So this is the IP for a computer. Okay, let me admit people in the waiting room. Admit all. Okay. Okay, so this is 1.10. If this is 1.10, the default gateway IP for this is going to be 192.168.1.1. If this is 1.1, this has to be different. So I'll take this as 192.168.2.1. If this is 2.1, here it has to be same. So I'll take this as 192.168.2.2. If this is 2.2, this has to be different. So I'll take this as 192.168.3.1. This is 3.1, it has to be different here. So it is 192.168.4.1. If this is 4.1, then this has to be 192.168.4.2. This is 4.2, it has to be different here. So it is 192.168.5.1. And for this computer, we'll give IP as 192.168.3.10. This computer will give 192.168.5.10. This is how the IPs are assigned for the interfaces of a computer, interfaces of a router. Okay, so the only thing you should remember is when you see the interfaces of a router, it should have different network IDs. When you see 2 interfaces connecting 2 routers, it should be in same network. Now, when you see here, the network ID for this is 1.0, and for this is 2.0, and for this again it is 2.0. So these both are same. This is 2.0, then this is 3.0 and this is 4.0, which is different. This is 4.0 and this is also 4.0, which is same. And this is 5.0. Okay, so interface connecting, interface of a routers should be in different network. A serial interface connecting two routers should be in same network. Yes, I hope this is clear for everyone. Great. So these are the two rules, and switch. we will not be assigning any IP to switch, so you don't have to worry about switch. Okay, switch is nothing but, see, in simple terms, just understand that switch is something like an extension box where you connect many number of computers. And yes, we are going to see configurations in switch also, but just imagine that it is an extension box where you can connect many computers, and many computers, and you can bring them into one common network. That is why we use switch. And even in switch we have many security concepts which can be implemented, many configurations which can be implemented, and we will be discussing this in further classes. Okay, so this is with router rules. And talking about router modes, so now talking about router modes, there are like you have user mode, you have privilege mode, and you have the global configuration mode. So you have configuration mode. So you have three modes in router. Okay, so you have three modes in router: user mode, privilege mode, and global configuration mode. So let's see what these modes are. So now when you try configuring a router, why do you configure a router? Because you have to assign IPs. You have to assign IPs for this router, and you can do actually more things in router. We will see that in future classes. Now we are going to see about assigning an IP for a router, but then we will also see about what configurations, ACL type of configurations can be done in a router. So the to do for today, we'll discuss that. So you're going to, as of yesterday, all that you did was up to switch level. So today you will start with router, a switch, and a computer. You know how to assign an IP and a subnet mask to a computer. You know this, yes? So now what we are going to do is we are going to try assigning an IP for this router's interface. So now you tell me, we have connected a router with switch. In which interface? Which interface is this? The one that I have marked here. Which interface is this? I know this is interface port, but in interface port, which type of interface is this? Very good. This is fast Ethernet interface. This is fast Ethernet interface. Super. So now we are going to assign IP for this fast Ethernet interface. Okay. So say our computer's IP is 192.168.1.10 and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And then here for this default gateway, we are going to assign an IP called 192.168.1.1. Okay. Now to do this, first what you have to do is you have to open the router. You have to open the router and go to CLI, that is the command line interface. You'll go to the command line interface. When you enter into command line interface, you will find a command something like this: router and an arrow mark, router and an arrow mark. This mode is called the user mode, or you can call this as the login mode. User mode or the login mode. So for this, now from user mode you have to log in and you have to go to the next mode. For that you will type the command as either enable, or you can type en, any one. Okay, you can type enable or en. So when you type enable or en, what will happen is the router's mode will change. That is, this arrow mark will change as hash. Okay, and this mode is called the privilege mode. privilege mode. Now, what can be done in privilege mode? You cannot do any configuration in privilege mode. In privilege mode, you can see what configurations are by default done in a router. Now, say for example, if you have assigned an IP to a router already, what you can do is you can type a command called show IP, and it will show you whether there is any IP assigned to a router or not. Okay, so you can only see what has been done in a router, but you cannot configure anything. If you wanted to configure something, what you have to do is you have to, I mean, from privilege mode, router hash, what you have to do is you have to type conf space t or configure terminal. Okay, conf space t is nothing but configure terminal. And once you choose configure terminal, what you it will change as a router inside bracket. It will type it as config and it will give a hash. Okay, and this mode is called the global configuration mode. Global configuration mode, and this is where all the configuration of a router is being done. This is the mode where all the configurations of a router is being done. Now what we will do is we are now inside the global configuration mode. Now for this interface, let's try assigning this IP. Okay, let's try assigning this IP to this interface. Now to do that, the command that you have to type is, now let's say we are in configuration mode, router inside bracket config and hash. So it is waiting. So now what you have to do is first you have to choose the interface. You have to choose the interface for which you're going to type the IP. Now here, the interface that we are going to choose is the fast Ethernet interface. So the command that you will type is interface space fast Ethernet space fast Ethernet, and there is a number for this Ethernet interface. If you place your mouse pointer here, it will show you. So it is obviously going to be 0/0. Okay, and if you feel very hard typing all this, what you can do is, in case if you are making mistake, this command will not work. So what you can do is, this particular command line is user interface. What you can do is you just have to type int, and in your keyboard press the tab key. In your keyboard press the tab key, it will automatically fill it for you. And then you type fa, press the tab key, it will automatically fill it for you. Okay, so you can use that shortcut to write the command. Now once you have chosen the interface, the next line, and hit enter, and the next line, the router configuration will look something like this: router config hyphen if, and then it will wait for you to write the next command. Now here you're going to write the IP address. So what we will do is we'll type IP and we'll type address, and we'll give the IP address as 192.168.1.1 space. You will give the subnet mask as 255.255.255.0. You'll type this particular subnet mask and hit enter, and again next line it has to come and stand here: config hyphen if, config hyphen if, and the next line you have to type no shutdown. You type no shutdown. Okay, so why do you type no shutdown? When you type this command, it means that you are enabling the port, or you are turning on the port. So to make the port live, to make port live or on, you type this command. So it is just a 3-line command. First you have to log in, and you have to go to the configuration mode, and once you are inside the configuration mode, you have to choose the interface, and you have to assign the IP and subnet mask, and you have to you have to type no shutdown, and that's it. Now you have assigned an IP for this interface. Okay, now how do you check whether all your configuration is correct? After doing all these, after performing all these steps, admit all. Okay, so after performing all the steps from your computer, how will you verify? From your computer you will verify. From your computer from command prompt, you will try pinging 192.168.1.1. And in case if you get a reply, the configuration is correct. In case if you get replies like destination host unreachable or request timed out, then which means the configuration which you've done is wrong. Okay, so this is the assignment which you're going to do today. And I'll also show you, since router is very new for you, I will show this to you in Packet Tracer as well. Yes, so in Packet Tracer, you know, we have all the devices in Packet Tracer. I hope my screen is visible. Yes, so we have routers, we have switch and all that. So if you want a router, you click and drag a router and place it here, and a switch, and then in device you can use computer. Okay, so router, switch, and Packet Tracer, and you can connect all these from router. You can connect to switch, and again from switch you can connect to a computer. Okay, now when you see, when I keep my mouse pointer here, see it is showing me that the port is fast ethernet 0/0. Yes, the port is fast ethernet 0/0, but we haven't set any IP address or anything. We haven't done anything. We've just connected it. Now, where do you go type all these commands which I told you? You have to go double click the router, and in command line, see in command line, it is going to ask you all these configurations, give yes, and it is going to ask you for router name. Type the router name and it is going to get inside the router mode. Okay, and once it is inside the router mode, you have to type all these commands. You have to first enable, and then you have to configure terminal. You have to give configure terminal, and you have to give these 3 steps. Okay, you have to give these 3 steps, and after done, once you have assigned an IP to the router, from this computer, for this computer also you have to assign IP. Give IP 192.168.1.10 close it, and from this computer, in command prompt, you have to type ping 192.168.1.1, and you have to get a reply. I will not get reply because I haven't assigned any IP for my router. You can give any name to your router. Yes, you can give any name to your router. See, you shouldn't get this reply. You shouldn't get request timed out. Okay, in case if your configuration is wrong, you will get this output only, but you have to get a reply. Okay, when you get a reply, the configuration which you have done is correct, and this red color light will also turn it into green when all the configuration is correct. So see here, it is showing you that as router fast ethernet 0/0. So it is showing you that it is 0/0, the type. So you can see it here also. Okay, so this assignment you will do today, and you will show us whether the assignment if you get the output, you have to show it to us. And the commands which you use is these 3 lines of commands, just 3. It is like a 4-line command. You have to first log in, and you have to go to configure terminal mode, and then you have to type the interface, you have to give the IP address and subnet mask, and then no shutdown. Okay, for 2 routers, we will see that when we see about routing. The next topic is routing. We'll see that in the next class. As of now, place 1 router, 1 switch, and 1 computer, and then try pinging the router from the computer. Okay, don't go with 2 routers. It is going to confuse you. For 2 routers, again, you have to perform routing so that you can make the 2 routers communicate with each other. In case if you don't do routing, you cannot make the routers communicate. All right, so this is with router configuration, and all the steps which I told you, I will post it in the notes. Yes, I will post it in the notes, and you can see the steps. I have the notes written here, each and every step what you have to do. You have to enable configure terminal, choose the interface, IP address, shutdown. I've written all this here, so I will paste the notes, and you can go through the notes, and you can go through the video, and you can do the assignment. Yes, so this is with router basic configuration. And one more assignment which I wanted to give you is, you can try this out. You can try the same. Now, say for example, when you try accessing a router, the first step is you will try logging in. Yes, and immediately when you try logging in, the next step will be your privilege mode. Yes, it will go to the privilege mode. Now, what I wanted you to do is, what I wanted to do you to do is, once you type enable, the next line it should ask for a password. The router should ask for a password, and only when you type the password it should go to the privilege mode. So your second to do for today is, first to do is the router configuration, and second to do is set password to a router. So find out what command is used to set a password to a router. Okay, that is just a one line command. So you have to find out the command which is used to set a password to the router, and you have to set a password. And then next time when you try logging into a router, it should ask you for a password, and only when you enter the password it should get inside the privilege mode. Okay, so as of today you have two assignments. One is the router basic configuration, and you have to try pinging from the computer to the router, and the second to do is setting password to a router. Yes, great. So you can go ahead and you can start working on the assignment, and the Skype group will be active for the next 2 hours. And in case if you have any doubts, you can come up and you can post your questions there. If you are done with the assignment, you can also, post that you have done your assignment. Yes, great. Thank you. You can leave now.